3, 2, 1. Hey, what is happening, guys? So in this video we're going to continue on our login form, and let me just show you really quick. So this is what we did until now, and now we're going to take care of this part of forgot your password. So when we're going to click on it, it will take us, actually let me show you right here. Let's go back to login. So we're here. If we click on forgot your password, this will send us to this page. And within here, we'll type in our username, our email, let's say media.com, and if we hit now request, then this will send us, so this will replace first of all the username, it will display the email address, and it will give us this reset code. And now this will pop out. So this reset your password, and right in here we can type in something, and if we hit reset, so if we hit reset, this pop-up will appear with please check if password match and all fields are complete. Well, all fields are complete, but now let's see if the passwords match. And if we hit on this little icon here, so also if we hover over the label, this icon changes, and if we click it, then we can see that the password don't match. So let's just type in SAS. Now if we hit reset, then it will alert us that the verification code is not correct. And if we take a look here, then we can see it is not correct. Now let's copy this in here, and now if we hit reset, password reset successful. Okay, this is all done using JavaScript and also HTML and CSS. And I don't know how long the video is going to take, but if it's going to take about 35 minutes, then I'm going to cut this into two parts. First being the HTML and CSS, and the second being then the JavaScript part. So before we get into the tutorial, if you enjoy this kind of content, then please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting that notification bell in order to get notified whenever I post content like this. Okay guys, this being said, let's jump into the tutorial. So let's go back, and first of all, just mention, so this is an ongoing project. I have many, let's take this out, index. I already have like 3 videos, this will be the 4th video, and all of this we did in the previous videos, so either you can go down in the link in the description below and copy the code, or you can take a look at the other videos. Okay, now let's jump into it. So let's create another page, and we will call this reset password .html. Okay, we can now go back to our index and just take everything and copy it into our reset password. Okay, let's open this one up. Actually, let me just very quickly go to our index, and let's see if this is linked up. So forgot password, this should go to reset password. And now let's go in here in our reset password HTML. Let's change the title, reset password, and also in our title we'll now type in forgot your password. Question mark, and now let's go into our login, click the forgot password, and this should take us right here, forgot your password. Okay, and now within our body I'll insert here a header tag and give this a ID of home, and within our header tag I'll just type in h1, and actually here we will type in this forgot your password. Let me just copy this first of all, type it within here. This is extremely large, so let's change it to an h2, and now go into our CSS, down here, and let's type in a comment of requests, actually forgot password. So this is where the CSS for the forgot password HTML will start. Okay, now let's take our ID of home and target the H1 within it, and let's change the color, actually the font size, to just 1.5 rem. And now if I go back into our request password, I could change this into an H1. Okay, let's go back into our CSS and change it to 2.5 rem. That's much better. Now actually I could close this index, we don't need this, and reset password. This is what we need. Now to this section with the class of form container, we'll add another class. So within the class, we'll add a, now let's replace this icon with a FAS actually, and FA from. This will give us this sad face. Okay, now underneath our div, we will now create another section tag, and we'll give this a class of request verification container. Sorry, request dash verification. Make sure you verify container. Okay, this section will now include or contain our entire form right here. Why do we have here another section tag? Let me just take a look. Oh yeah, exactly. So this is for the entire container, and this is just for the forms. Okay, we will take out the action here. You can also take out the method, the target, and within the class, we will also give this form the class of request password form. And in order to prevent this form from auto-submitting, so if I would hit login, it will submit and the page would refresh. We can now call on the onSubmit. I will type in here first of all alert, code generated, and actually this should be a string. And outside the parentheses, we'll also inhibit it from submitting. So we type in return false. So on submit, it won't return anything. Now down here, we'll replace this H1 with an H2. And we will type in within here, request a reset code. So this will be the form where we will request our reset code. And of course, we'll make a few modifications here, and then we will continue. And when we hit submit or request, then the next form for the reset password will appear. Okay, down here where it says password, we'll replace it with user email. And for the type, so the input type and the label, let me just take this and Control D, and we'll type in within here email. And for the text, we'll type in email address. Okay, for the username and email, we will also need to give them some IDs. So only in the input fields, we'll now type in ID and give this ID of user name. We will leave it as required, the input, and for the label, we'll just copy this ID. We'll give this also a name. of username. Now the same thing we need to do for the input email, the input for the type of email and for the label. So I'm just going to copy this ID from the input type text, so from the user. I'll replace it with email and copy it one more time, also in the label, and replace the ID with a name tag, a name property. Now, as you saw here, let me just refresh this. As soon as we click on the icon, the form drops down, and we have here username and email. And this is actually just a tag, and as soon as we type something in here, this will be replaced with what we typed in here. Okay? So for this, let me just go back in here. So this is going to be down here. You can actually take out this container of checkbox. We don't need this anymore. But what we do need is an H2 with an ID of display username. And within here we'll type in username and email. Okay, now we'll take care of this part. So as you can see, let me refresh this again. The actual code is hidden. In order to get this code, we need to press on the request button. And in order to get the code after you press on the request button, we need to type in a name, type in an email, and only then the request code will appear. So now we need to create a container. And first of all, just create a label, and within here I will type in your reset code, and underneath our labels I'm going to put in a comment here. This would be reset code container. Now we'll create a div with an ID of request code container, and I will automatically style it. So I will inline style it with display none. Now within our container we'll create an input tag with a type of text. We'll give this a name of request code, also ID of request code, and we will style this. Actually, let me go here. We'll style this with text align center. Okay, so now until now this is hidden. If I take out this styling here of display none, so this is where our input lives. And let me just put this back in and display it as none. Don't want to see it only after we click the request button. Now down here we had our submit button, and now we'll change the value to request, and we'll give this an ID of generate code, and we'll grab onto this ID later on in our JavaScript. Now we can actually take out this label and also take out this LinkedIn. So this div right here. And we'll take out the forgot password, and we'll only leave this in. So the create new account, and we'll link it then up to a create new account HTML, which we don't have right now. Now, underneath our form, we'll create a second form. Let me just comment this out. So this would be new password form. Okay, let's create within here a new form. So let's create a form tag. We'll leave the action open. Give this a class of login form. Also a ID of new password. And the same thing as we did last time, on submit, we will just type in within here, return false. Okay, now let's start populating our form. And I will just go up here and first of all take this div, the user logo, and copy it within here and change the class to success logo. And also the icon within here will be a green alt. Underneath our div for the logo, now type in, we'll create an h2 tag, and within here we'll type in reset password. Underneath our h2, we'll now create another div. Actually, these are then the input text from above here. So I could just copy them from here till here. And let me just quickly comment this out. So this would be the reset code input. Then let me copy this one more time. This would be new password input. And then we need a last one for repeat password. And that's actually it. Okay, we don't need this, so the second class. For the input type, we'll type in here text. We'll leave the class as user. We'll give it a ID. Actually, we already have the ID, so I will change the ID within here to verification code, verification request code. And also give this a name of verify request code. Now in the label we replace the for the verify request code. The class we will leave as user. We'll take out the name, but we will also give this a ID of user. And that's basically it for our first input field. Now we need to take care of the next three. So I could just copy this, paste it in here one more time, so under our new password input. We will leave the div class as input field. We will change the input now, the type to password. We'll leave the class as user. We'll take out the required. The ID we will change to new password. We can take out the name. We will replace the label for new password. Can leave the class as user and the ID also as user. And within here we'll just type in wait a second. So this would be new password. So for the third input field, repeat password, we'll copy this. And actually I should have changed this ID. So for the first input password, we'll give this a new password 1. And this would be new password 2. And change this to 1 and this to 2. And everything else we can leave as it is. And this should be request code. Like a reset code. This will be new password. And the last one down here, replace with repeat password. Now if we take a look at our example here, this is what we need now, this show password, icon and label. So staying within our form tag, now create a label, actually just put a comment in here, so this would be for the show password. Okay, so now let's create a label for the show password. And we'll give this a class of show password. And also container. Because we want in this label to have an icon, the class of FAR, FA, and I. And we'll give this a ID of show password. And underneath our icon tag, we'll create now a span tag and we'll type just show password within here. And now in order to verify this, we need to create a input tag with a type of submit, a value of reset, and we'll give this the ID of reset password. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the HTML. Now let's jump into our CSS and start styling this. Now let's grab onto the class of request password. So let me just go into our HTML. So we will grab on to this. Where do we have it? This request password form. And within this form, we want the input. So now we will target the input with the type of email. And for this, we want to have a border of none, a background color transparent, give this a border to the bottom, of 1 pixel solid, and black. And first of all, let me actually take the request password class. So not the form, just this, and let's increase the width to 820 pixels and the height to 620 pixels. Now let's take care of this container and then for the other containers. So for this form, the other form, because you can actually see the second form right now, but we will We'll take care of this right now. So we'll take the class of request. We'll take the class of request verify container. And we'll display this as grid. And for grid template column, we'll now try to repeat 2 times 1 FR, so 2 times 1 fraction. Now we'll take the class of request password form and we'll give this a max width of 50%. So this container will take up only 50% of its entire container. Now if we go into our HTML, we'll take the second form, which we gave an ID of new password. And we'll give this a max width of also 50%, a height of 100%, and we'll display it to the left with 50%. From the top, 0. Give the color white to all the text. I actually made here a mistake. This should be a dash. Okay, so give this a padding, the top 2 rem and 1 rem left and right. And I will also type in within here animation of 0.8 seconds and ease, and display none, which will comment out, and display block for now. So there we have it. There's our second form. Now let's take care of the animation. So when it appears, I want it to have a bit of an animation, and for this we'll create a keyframe again. So add keyframe, and we'll give this keyframe the name of reset form. And we want this to go from 0%, from opacity 0, and right minus 50%. Then at 30%, it should have the opacity still 0, but it should be at 10% from the left this time, and at 100% you should be at opacity 1 and right 100%. Now let's call our animation within here. You can see this sliding in. So let's hit save again. Refresh. This slides in from the right, from the left to the right. Okay, next up, we'll take care of this h2 tag. So within our new password, the ID of new password, the h2 will position this relative. Then we'll give it a margin from the bottom of 2 rem. And a text align to the center. Now we'll take the ID of request code container, And we'll display this as grid. Give this a width of 100%. A grid template column of 50% and 50. And a font size of 1.2 rem. Now let's take care of the icon, and for this we're going to take the container class again, and I want to give this a cursor of pointer. Now let's take care of our logo up there. So the logo with the class of success logo, we have this user logo, now we replace it with the success logo. We give this a height of 100%, like 100 pixels, a width of 100 pixels, give this a background color of red, border radius of 50%, and something went wrong. Why can I see this? Let me take a look in our HTML. So where do we have our logo of user? Success logo, class. Oh, we forgot an S there. Haha. Spell check. There we have it. So this is actually only the container, it's not the icon tag. We'll position this relative. Then we'll give it the box sizing of border box. Now we'll push it from the left. And we'll type in here calculation, so this will calculate the 320 pixels divided by 2.5. This should place it approximately in the middle. Now let's push it to the top, and for this we're going to type in top minus 80 pixels. This will push it 80 pixels to the top. We want this to have a Z index of 1, cursor pointer, and a font size of 2 rem. I could take out this 2 rem because I'm going to place it into our icon tag. Now we'll take the success logo class again, and within this we'll target the icon tag. Now we can increase the font size to 5 rem. Position it absolute within its container. And now we'll push it from the top 50%. And from the left also 50%. And now we'll give this a transform. Translate on both axes with minus 50% and minus 50% on the y-axis. So the x and y-axis. Now we have it in the middle. Okay, now let's take care of the request code. For this we're going to target the ID of request code. And we'll align the text to the center. Change the background color to white. Actually, let me go into the HTML and take out, there we have it. Submit, generate, cascode, there we have it. This display none. So there's our request code. Now we'll type in within here, display none, comment it out, so you can see what we're styling in here. Now the color within this, when we type in, should be black. So when we type in something in here, should stay the color black. Let's increase the font size to large. The font weight to 600 and give this a margin from the bottom of 1 rem. Okay, now let's target the show password container. We're going to take the show password container, give this a padding 0, margin 0, a margin from the bottom of 1 rem, a font size of 1.2 rem, and the color dark gray. When we hover over this, so this is the show password container, that this icon should turn white. And for this, we're going to take the container again. And let's give this now a pseudo class of hover. And we want the ID of show password now to have a cursor of pointer and the color white. So let's take a look at this. So this is turning white and the cursor is now pointer. And let's just give this a bit of padding to the right. So let's take the icon, ID of show password. And actually let me give this a padding to the right of 1 rem. Okay, so now this is pushed to the right a bit. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the CSS. And from this point on, we should actually start then. I also have to take care of this. Let me go back in our HTML. There we have it. Submit, submit. Labels up here. Facebook. So this won't be Facebook. This should go back to our index. And this shouldn't have a class at all, this icon. You can actually take out completely the icon and just type in here back to login. Okay, so this will send us back to the login form. Now we click on forget password. Yeah, and this is still displayed as up here, where do we have it? Display none. So we will hide. Where do we have it? Where do we have it? We have to hide this and then activate it through JavaScript. The ID of new password. There it is. I'll comment this one out. Okay, so only when we click on this request, then, and everything is filled out correctly, only then will disappear. Okay? Okay guys, so that's pretty much it for this video. This is already almost an hour long, and we'll take care of the JavaScript in the next video because this is getting really long. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up if you did, thumbs down if you didn't. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell in order to be notified when I post a video like this. Okay guys, so catch you next time. Bye bye.